Ambitious women, entrepreneurs are beginning a movement to create a new way of business that focuses on collaboration and community. Together, we are shaping the way by using our intuition, our inner insight, and our creativity. Join us for inspiration, motivation, and transformation. This is your host, Lucy McMonagle, and this is the Wealthy Wednesday Show. A special thanks to Gordon Reary for creating the music. You can find him on Facebook under Gordon Reary. So now, let's get started. Welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday Show. This is your host, Lucy McMonagle. Today, I am so excited. We have Michele PW, and she's going to help you with love-based copywriting so that you don't sound salesy, so that you can truly come from your heart and be able to really reach out to your ideal client so that you will be able to make the impact that you desire. Michele is the best-selling author of the love-based copywriting books that teach people how to write copy that attracts, inspires, and invites. And she's also the owner of Creative Concepts and Copywriting LLC. She is incredible. I have personally been speaking with her, and I am mesmerized by how she is able to really draw out that power of saying the right things at the right time, but coming from your heart. So let's give a warm welcome to Michele. Michele, welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday Show.
Thank you so much. I'm just so excited to be here. So yeah. And my last name is, because we were talking about this, it's Michele PW Pariza Wacek. So for all of you wondering how to pronounce it, that's how you pronounce it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so kindly. And I am so grateful that you were able to do that. Sometimes I get so excited, I completely slaughter people's names.
I do that quite a lot, so I get it.
Wow. So you have this incredible skill, this ability on how to create a love-based copy, and you have a love-based philosophy. Can you explain to our audience who are women entrepreneurs who are just starting out to listening to this, what exactly is love-based philosophy and how does that work?
So I'm so glad you asked this. Love-based, well, basically what it is all emotions fall under either love or fear. So fear is clearly things like grief, anger, shame, worry, fear, envy, guilt, all of that. Love-based emotions are obviously, love, connection, hope, joy, all the stuff that we really love, belonging, that kind of thing. And the problem is as a society and as individuals, we really hate feeling the fear-based emotions. Mm-hmm. And so not only do we hate it as people, but then collectively as a society, we have, we also encourage people not to feel it. And when you think about it, every time somebody says, just get over it, or, stop crying, it'll all be fine, or let it go, because let it go. Yeah. You do have to let things go, but you have to feel the emotions first before you actually really can let them go. Or, go have a drink, we numb it with shopping, or even starting drama or having a fight, or projecting, anything we can do to just not feeling it. And projecting is, when we're putting it, obviously, our emotions onto a situation. So what happens though, unfortunately, is when you aren't comfortable to just be in your fear-based emotions, because you do need your fear-based emotions, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. You don't, when you keep running away or numbing them or refuse to feel them, they will control you. And they control you because it's all unconscious, but because basically you're reacting. So like, let's say somebody says something and it makes you upset. And so then so then you're upset with them. And so then maybe you spend the day, complaining about them on Facebook, or calling a friend and complaining about them, or just, just circling around, and maybe you fight with somebody else because you're so stressed about this. So you see what it is. So suddenly you've lost an entire day because somebody's upset with you, and that's because you're reacting to the fact that they made you upset. Whereas you can respond, and usually when you're reacting to you're making things worse. So usually you say something, and then you'll say something back because you're mad and hurt, and then they say something, and it all escalates. And anyway, so that's kind of an example. And so the thing is that so when you're reacting to those emotions, they kind of control you. The thing is that what I've come to realize, and I started to realize this in copywriting, because so many people came to me. And copywriting is, of course, writing the words that you need for your websites, your emails. And I focus on something called direct response, which are emails and sales letters and stuff where you're asked to do something, like click on a link or buy a product or opt in or something. Mm-hmm. And what I realized is I had a lot of people say to me, and maybe you think this too, is how much that direct response copy makes you feel icky or inauthentic or slimy or salesy. The stuff, because it's like, you see all these urgency stuff, like, buy now or your cat's going to die. It's like all that fake stuff there. Yeah. And so people, so what's going on is in order to persuade anybody to do anything, you need to tap into their emotions. Mm-hmm. And because that's, it doesn't matter if you want to get your kids to go to bed at a certain bedtime, whatever, if you are trying to get people to take action, you need to tap into their emotions. And you can tap into their fear-based emotions or their love-based emotions. It's your choice. But a lot of people have tapped into the fear-based emotions for copywriting. So a lot of the direct response, the internet marketing, copywriting is triggering fear-based emotions, so they're really built on a foundation of fear. And that's what I realized. And then if you look at that, then businesses are actually built on a foundation of fear. Our governments are built on a foundation of fear. In our relationships with our kids and our spouses or partners or parents are all built on fear, because the fear is unconsciously controlling us. So what I'm really doing is, so I saw it in there, I expanded it out and realized just how pervasive this whole thing was. Mm-hmm. But we can start by fixing it with our copy and our marketing and our businesses, and kind of go from there.
Wow. And there's been so many times when in the past where I was on a call with somebody where I was the recipient, not the caller. And a lot of times they use the fear-based tactics, like, what are you going to lose if you wait one more day?
Yeah.
And what are you going to, and it always felt uncomfortable. It always felt like this pressure being squeezed onto me. And it felt icky. And even if I did hire them, then I didn't feel like I could be free. I felt like I was being constricted and tiny instead of opening and wide and vibrant. So how you talked a little bit on how you discovered this and where you were noticing that we're on a fear-based society. And it's so true that we are so fear-based society. So you've talked a little bit about what the differences are, but can you dive in a little bit deeper on, let's say you're already a fear-based and you just discovered, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I was running my business on a fear base.
Right.
How do you start switching that to the love philosophy or the love-based copywriting?
So first off, be good to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. So if you realize that, just don't go there. Look, it's very common. It really, really, really is common, because when you think about it, businesses already trigger so much, it's one of the best self-development tools there is, that and being a parent. Mm-hmm. And part of it is because it's very triggering, and it triggers especially anything to do with money. So if you are in scarcity mode, like if you really need some income to pay bills. And all businesses have been there. Every single business owner has cash flow issues or money issues at one time or another. They all do. It's, their months are flat or they go upside down. I mean, sometimes it's, it can be, for successful businesses, obviously it's temporary, but it does happen. So, and it happens to every single person in every single business. So, so managing the up and down flow, managing your own emotions is really important. And it's not surprising at all, which is why you shouldn't beat yourself up, and you should be patient with yourself, because it is scary. I mean, it is. And that's what our fear-based, the fear and fear-based emotion, that was its job. I mean, it does have a job to help us. I think we lose sight of that. Mm-hmm. All the fear-based emotions actually have jobs to help us. The problem is because we aren't allowing them to help us. And the fear-based emotion is letting us know, they're letting us know there's a problem, that there's some danger. I mean, it's a danger alert. Like, there's a scary shadow up ahead that might attack us. I mean, there's a good reason why we feel fear. But when we bury it or when we bury it and not allow it to do its job, that's when, it gets all messed up. And that's what's really been happening, because we haven't really let any of these emotions, do their job and let us, because all emotions want is just for us to feel them, and then they go away. Yes. I mean, that's really all it is. And if you don't feel it, if you use the stuff that I talked about before, like numbing it or distracting from it or burying it, if you refuse to feel it, then it just gets trapped in your body. And you're absolutely right. And that's the thing that I realized with fear-based businesses is if you bring people in using fear, then, and you will bring people in with fear. But then you're right. I mean, it's like if there is a problem, there's like a lack of trust there. And, they might have very bad buyer's remorse. They might not be willing to open up to you when things happen. So when you do bring them in with this way, there is a consequence. So I think that's one thing to kind of always keep in mind. Now, to switch to love, the first thing you need to do is start being open to feeling your fear-based emotions, which isn't easy to do. It's simple. It's not easy. But that's kind of the first step there's actually two steps. One step is to start feeling the emotions so they can move through you. Mm-hmm. And also at the same time, when you're sitting down to do your marketing, to write some copy or get on a sales call or speak at an event or speak on a teleclass or whatever it is, to make sure you are in a love-based mindset. Now, you are currently feeling fear, and I don't want you to stuff your fear. That can be challenges. So what you may need to do, and what I say is, just put that aside. Like, tell your inner self that you'll feel the emotion later, but for the next hour, you want to move into abundance, an abundance love-based mindset. Where everything is sort of like the higher good. You are not pursuing. Fear is all about pursuit and arm twisting, anything like that where you feel like you need to chase your prospects, any kind of desperation energy, that's all under fear. So as much as you possibly can, shift to love while you're doing any of this. And one way to do that is like gratitude is a great way to start. Now, if you're really in fear, I know that you can do a gratitude exercise and just keep working on it. Be patient with yourself. I know you can sit there, I have nothing to be gratitude about. So, you can start with things like you have a roof over your head. You have a bed to sleep on. You have a computer that works. You have internet. You have food in your fridge. You were able to brush your teeth that morning. You can find things like that. Mm-hmm. You got up and you got out of bed. That's something to be grateful for. Mm-hmm. So that's, so start there. And because gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. So if you can really focus in on the gratitude and use that to kind of shift to a love-based mindset, do your marketing and sales or whatever you need to do, and then go back to just feeling the fear-based emotions. And I guarantee, I don't know how long it's going to take. It may, I don't know what you've done. So I don't know how much you've buried, and I've buried a lot. So it did take a little while. So, I don't know how, I can't give you any guarantees. All I can say is that when the emotion is been felt, it will go away.
Mhm.
So just keep feeling it and breathing into that emotion until it, until it moves through you. And you can do things like walking. That's what I like to do. I like to not only feel the emotions, but then after I've done that for a while, maybe take a walk or do some hot yoga or stretching, drink a lot of water, give your body a chance to get rid of it as well. Because quite honestly, these trapped fear-based emotions, this is also causes disease too. So you want to be healthy physically, this is a good thing to do.
Mhm. That's so true. And I'm working with my master's on psychosomatics. We really, that's what we study is how those trapped emotions actually physically cause ailments in your body.
Yes.
And a lot of individuals honestly don't believe that there's a connection between here and here. But science is now starting to show us that because we're not feeling all of the range of the emotions, if we're not allowing ourselves to really just go into that feeling, we have a sense of incompletion.
Right. I mean, there's a reason why we feel emotions in parts of our body. I mean, I know this is all very, because you're like, oh, emotions are nothing. I mean, in our culture, we very much value logical thinking in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the mind is great, but the mind tends to live in the past or the future. It rarely is in the present. I don't think it is ever in the present. Our emotions are in the present. Our body is in the present. But when you think about it, because you think you can always feel the emotions in your body. Like, you can feel love in your heart, with me, worries in your gut. You can pinpoint. That's where the emotions are. And like what you're saying about the psychosomatic, after my grandmother died, my grandfather just ended up with this horrible back pain. And he went to doctor after doctor after doctor. I think he lived about 7-8 years after she died. And he was actually very, very healthy. He only took like 2 pills a month. I mean, that was it. I mean, he was on like the millions of drugs. Oh, and his gin. He had gin every day. And he lived to be like 96. But the back pain was a mystery. And I gave him the book. I tried to talk to him about, because I was sure that was his unstirred grief over my grandmother trapped in his back.
Mm-hmm.
But, old dogs or old horses and new tricks and all that other stuff. It didn't quite work. But, but he went to so many doctors and had x-rays. There was nothing physically wrong with his back that would show the pain. So it will get trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And, high blood pressure. I mean, when you think about that, like after, that's part of the reason why I think a lot of health deteriorates after like a major grief episode, because grief is the emotion that we really don't want to feel. So that's the scariest. But if we can allow ourselves to go there and move past it, I mean, the last stage of grief is actually joy. So if you can actually move through grief, you will get back to joy. And just moving through grief, this happened with my mother. My mother passed a couple years ago, and I allowed myself to go through it. And the thing is that going through grief does open things up for you that you never even realized before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And in order to really move into the love-based, it's going through those other emotions and giving them a sense that they were heard, they've completed their job, and now they're done. Now you can complete your cycle. And that kind of brings us into what all of this, how can we use this for love-based copy and marketing so that we can start growing our business?
Yes. So part of this is the foundation, because if you don't know how to, one of the things that you will realize is mindset is just about everything.
Yes.
And so, because we can all tell you, I mean, I could tell you right now what exactly to do, I mean, because it's not brain surgery. It's fairly simple how to grow a business.
Mm-hmm.
What's difficult is doing it. And that's why, so regardless of, and I will get back to the copy marketing, but I want to say that even beyond copy and marketing, what I've been sharing with you today can help you with all of that, because if you can manage your own emotions and manage your own mindset, and get rid of your own mindset blocks, and feeling your emotions is a great way to do that. That's going to allow you to actually have a success mindset, and not be blocked anywhere. Okay, so with the copy and marketing, what I really like to think about is, that I touched on this before, like fear is really pursuing. And that's, so any kind of desperation or energy, that kind of thing. Love-based is really about choice. So so there's a lot of similarities in terms of like what you actually will cover when you write love-based copy and do love-based marketing. A lot of it, the difference is your come from. So if you're coming from, your mindset is you're educating people, and then you're going to step back and let them make a choice, versus trying to pursue them and kind of twist their arms to make a choice, which is choosing you, obviously. So like with the love-based, so one of the things is, your ideal clients really are in pain. So I do want to say that. I mean, there is a pain in their life, and I do think that just like the fear-based emotions are here to help us, pain is here to help us.
Yes.
Pain tells our body. There are people who are born and they can't feel pain. And they actually don't live very long, because the pain is your body's way of letting you know there's a problem. Pain allows us to grow emotionally, allows us to grow spiritually. Pain is actually, I think, almost on the love-based scheme. The problem is that with traditional fear-based marketing, pain was twisted to turn into suffering. So yes. I do think acknowledging people's pain is perfectly okay, doing it in a respectful manner. Just don't then agitate it and turn it into suffering. So it's tips like that. It's like not agitated. It's not the pursuing. And it's just really just, being in a mindset to educate, and then stand back and let them make a choice.
Wow. And that seems really nice. And the older methods that some of the entrepreneurs have taken, and I'm going to call this the masculine method, but it doesn't have to mean it's a man thing. So don't misunderstand me. But a lot of it was, they would tell you, you've got to hit that bruise, and
right.
and really make the person know that they're in pain, and then amplify that pain.
Yeah, amplify and agitate. Yeah.
Right. And I've never been able to do that. I've believed there's enough pain in the world. I don't need to add more.
Right. So that's why acknowledging is fine. But yes, amplifying it or agitating it. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
Right. So, giving it a voice, letting the individual know, let's say, because I work with mindset and miracles and magic, a lot of the individuals, they come to me because something's just not working in their life and they want it to start working. And we find out what is not working. We give them the clarity. And what you're doing is you're helping entrepreneurs get the clarity on how to start being able to be on the love base. Yes, acknowledge, your audience, and maybe their issue is not making enough money, or maybe their issue is that they haven't been able to get enough individuals into an event, or maybe their issue is, you can let them know
their health, or they haven't found a relationship yet. The pain is, they have real problems. This is not glossing over problems, because the problems are real.
Yes. So you always mention that to let them know, this is what I can empower you with. So it doesn't mean you have to punch it. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Don't punch it. Just acknowledge it, and then give them a choice. And if they want to fix it, because the reality, what the agitation is really trying to do is, there are people, the only people who are going to buy your program, quite honestly, or product or service, whatever it is, are people who are ready to have the problem solved right now. This is it. They want it done right now. If this is something for the future, like they're going to do it in 2 months from now. They're not going to buy right now. They're going to buy it in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would you buy something now if you're not ready to use it, right? Unless there's a sale or there's some other urgency thing going on. Like, that's part of what the agitation is, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring people who have a problem, and they're kind of stewing. I talk about the boiling frog, where you put a frog and in water, and you turn up the heat slowly and the frog just sits there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of us that are just sort of boiling. We haven't hopped out of the pot yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that's the other thing too. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, every single one of us can probably point to something in our life that we're tolerating. Are we happy about it? No. But we're not upset enough about it or irritated enough about it to actually do something about it. Okay. It's just a nagging thing that's just, bugs us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what the fear base is trying to do is they're trying to agitate that enough so that it becomes more about, what, you're right, I'm tolerating it, I'm done tolerating it, I want to move forward. Because if you get into that mindset, if you can push people sort of almost artificially to that point, then they'll buy. The problem is those people, then you push them artificially. So they're not really, so once they get out of that sales environment, the environment that you've created with your sales, the sales funnel, either on the phone or with a preview, with the copy or the webinar or whatever, it's not going to stick, because they're really not. You artificially push them there, but they're really actually not ready to do anything about it. Mm-hmm. So that's when they disappear from your program or refund or whatever. If you just educate, though, so that's why the difference is so if you simply educate them, they still might be tolerating it. But if you read the education and you let them make the decision, they may very well decide, you know what, she has a point. I'm really done with this, and it's time to make a change. But if they make the decision, see, now look, everything shifts, because now they are motivated to do the work.
Yes.
And that's what you're trying to do, as much as possible. So it's quite all right to educate them and to just say, if you're ready to move forward, great. If you're not ready to move forward, that's fine too. But how long are you going to be tolerating this? And just do it as a fair question. Don't do it as like you're trying to twist them. But I mean, it is a fair question if you come from a place of not you trying to use it to actually manipulate them. If you simply are just doing it because, because we would do something like that in coaching, right? How long are you going to tolerate this?
Yes.
And let people make up their own mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference.
Wow. So and that's actually one of the main things that helps you go from when we're stuck in fear and to going into love and giving the individuals a choice, whether it's through your copywriting, whether it's through a sales call, whether it's through a webinar or some other means that you're educating them. And when the individuals are ready, then they'll come to you. And
exactly.
I've had individuals who've been watching me, we've talked on the phone.
Exactly.
And when they finally got to the point where I'm done, they give me a call and they say, I'm ready.
And I've had that too. I've had people follow me. I mean, and if you do it that way, because then you're getting people who are really ready, mm-hmm. and they're going to be your best clients. Anyone that you kind of artificially tried to force them, and you could have done this with the best of intentions, by the way. Mm-hmm. That I don't think anybody listening is doing this because they, their product or service is not good and can help people. There are scammers in the world. I don't believe anybody listening to this is that. I know that, and there's plenty of fear-based marketers who are not scammers. They know they've got a very good product or service. They know it'll help people. And what they believe, which I don't believe, what they believe is the ends justify the means. So they believe if you simply just get them into the program, even if you have to artificially push them, artificially create that sense of urgency, it doesn't matter because they need it. And on one hand, you're right, they do need it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the urge. They do need it. So they need it. It will help them. So why not push them? And, and part of being love-based, that's why, I'm here to educate. I'm not really here to I'm not here either to pursue it, to twist people's arms and say, you must do love-based. That's a perfectly valid way to approach business. I mean, and we've gone through it, higher refund rates, I think it erodes your brand. I mean, there's negatives to it, but, but it's a perfectly reasonable way to build a business. And so it's just really up to you what you feel good about, and what when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, and you will have better clients. I have a friend who unconsciously really did this, because I don't, this was before I defined it. She's a coach, a longtime coach. And that's the thing, she always had, filled, every time she wanted to have one-on-one coaching days, I mean, she was always filled. And, so it didn't matter. And she didn't do that much marketing. I mean, people just would come to her, they would watch her for a long time, and they would approach her. I mean, it was just always there. And she just had an excellent reputation. So that's what it can, and that's really what love-based can give you. I mean, once you're there, they're opening your emails. You don't have some of the other issues that some of the other marketers have, or business owners have, that are pursuing something different. Now, but to be fair, one thing that you do need to know about love-based is that it doesn't have to, but it's possible that it might take a little bit longer, because it's all about building relationships. And obviously you can't force that. You can't build relationships overnight. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I think people do move to fear, because it is faster. But if you have other things in place, that doesn't necessarily mean it's, I mean, you can still be supported as you are building your business through a love-based way. But are you going to get the immediate $1 million launches right out of the gate? Probably not. So you just have to kind of change your expectations and kind of what you're doing while you build this way. And then, but once you do, you're going to be a lot better set and more solidly set than some people who made some other choices.
Wow. And you actually have a love-based biz toolkit that you are helping individuals so that they will be able to convert that over. And you also have other resources that you educate individuals with your love-based podcast. Can you tell the individuals on how can they get a hold of this free toolkit that you are offering to them? And then talk real briefly about your podcast.
Yes, I'll talk briefly about all of this. So if you go to my lovebasedbizblog.com or just lovebasedbiz.com, that whole blog, my podcast is there, which is Love Based Money, which is really talking about our relationship with money, because that's based on a lot of fear. And what I'm really doing in that blog is taking marketing, like marketing and copy and business strategies that we've been taught. And a lot of times it's been taught on fear, just because we didn't know better, and it's nobody's fault. Mm-hmm. And I'm teaching them in a love-based way. So there's lots of free information on there. My podcast is on there. The toolkit is on there. And then you also will learn more. I've got a whole series of love-based business books as well. The love-based copywriting, that you can also check out. The links to Amazon and stuff are there too.
Wow, Michele, this has been so fabulous, and the time has gone so incredibly quickly. So I want to thank you for being on the Wealthy Wednesday show. Is there any last tips or nuggets you would like to leave our audience with before we wrap it up?
It's perfect where you're at. Just know that. It's hard. I mean, I'm very impatient. So it's, so I think that's why I think you can't hear that enough. Wherever you're at, it is perfect. It is good. Don't beat yourself up and just be patient.
Thank you. That has been fabulous. And thank you for explaining on how fear-based marketing compared to love-based marketing, and how individuals can start transitioning over so that they can truly create deep relationships with ideal clients that are easy to work with, that are motivated, that are ready to really make changes in their life so that they'll have the transformation they desire. Yes. So thank you so kindly.
Thank you.
And I want to thank my audience. You are the reason why I have expert guests on the Wealthy Wednesday show every single week. We are going strong. We've just celebrated 2 years, and I'm so excited that you are still with us. You're learning, you're being motivated, and I would love it if you would go to our Facebook at facebook.com/Wealthy Wednesday Show. Let us know, what did you think of this show? Let me know if there's any expert guests that you would like to have on the show, or if there's any topics you would like me to cover. So until next time, abundant blessings. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wealthy Wednesday Show. This is your host, Lucy McMonagle, and I would love to keep in touch with you by giving you a very special gift that will help you move your business and your life forward. You can access this special gift I am giving to you at my website at lucymcmonagle.com. That's LUCIMCMONAGLE.com for keeping in touch with me and getting access to a gift that will help you move your business and life forward. Until next time, abundant blessings.